Welcome back, aliens. My name is Navin Reddy, and let's continue with this series on Python. In fact, in the earlier videos, we have talked about what is Python. We have installed two softwares, and we have also worked with certain operations. Right? We had fun in the last session. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about what is variable. But first of all, why do we need one? Let's try something here. So what I will do is I will go back to my previous example. We were adding 2 and 3, so we have done with that, right? We are saying 2 plus 3. Now, if you remember in maths, what we do is of course we work with numbers, but then the moment you start with algebra, you have this concept of using x and y. So what we do is we say let x is equal to 5. Can we do that here? So we have x equal to 2. So I'm storing this value 2 in a variable called as x, and that's a new word now. What is variable? So basically, variable is a container where you can put your values. Example, we are storing 2 here in a container, and the name of that container is x. Of course, you can give any name, doesn't matter. You can say ABC, you can say a box, you can give any name, right? So we can say x equal to 2, and the moment I say enter, now this is the first time when you said enter and you have not got any output, right? So in the earlier prompts, what we did is when we said any operation, it was giving you some output. Here, we have not got any output. It's just an assignment operation. So in assignment, what we do is we have a variable name equal to a value. So we are assigning 2 to x. Okay, that works. So can I do this now? Can I say x plus 3? Yes, right? Because in x we have a value which is 2. Oh, it works. You can see we got 5. That works. Can I store 3 as well? Let's try. So I will say y is equal to 3. Now we have two variables, x and y. So we have two boxes. And now I will say x plus y. Oh, it works, right? It works. So we can say x has 2, y has 3, and we are adding them. Okay, so that's why we can use them. But then why they are called as variables? Now, normally when you say variable, this term simply means you can change the value. Can we change here? Can I say x equal to 9? Can I change the value from 2 to 9? Let's try. And the moment I say enter, oh, it works. There was no error. But now if I try to do this, if I say x plus y, x will have a value which is 2 or 9. That's a question because we are changing it, but there's no error. Enter. Oh, you got 12. That means the value of x now is 9. Okay, so we can change the value. And now we can justify that word as variables, right? So what is variable? It's a box where you can have a value. Now, do we need to define the type of the variable? You don't need to. So the moment I assign a value, it automatically detects what type of value you are assigning. So in this case, it is integer. Now let me just do this thing. What if I say x and if I say enter, what it will do? So the moment you say x and enter, it will print the value of x, in this case, which is 9, right? What if I use a variable ABC? Now, of course, we have not defined this variable, right? And we are still trying to use it. The moment I say enter, you got an error. The error is, it says name error, name ABC is not defined, and that's why we have not defined ABC yet. So if you are using a variable which is not defined, so it will of course give you an error. Now I will do one more thing. I will say x plus 10, so of course it will give you 19. Now what if I want to add 19 with y? I mean something in this way. I would say 19 plus y. But then if you think about this 19, this is the output of the previous operation, right? Now, if you want to use the output of the previous operation, we can use underscore. So underscore represents the output of the previous operation. And if I say enter, you can see we got 22. So it is 19 plus 3, which is 22. So even this works, right? So this is amazing, there are so many things you can work with this. So we can use variables for numbers, right? So we can use it for float or integer. What about string? Can I use variables with string or a string variable? Let's try. So I will create a variable as name, and I will use a name as YouTube. And if I say enter, oh, it works. And if I print name, we got YouTube. So it is perfectly working. So we can use string as well. So example, I can say name plus YouTube rocks. So you can see we got YouTube rocks. So it is name, which is YouTube plus rocks. Okay, even this work, that's perfectly fine. In fact, let me just do an experiment. Can I say name and space rocks? Okay, this is not working. So we have to make sure that you put plus there, because if you have plus, then only it will try to interpret that. Now there's one thing which is very fancy here, So when you talk about YouTube, it's a string, right? And it's a combination of characters. That means even if I want to fetch one character, we should be able to do that, right? And yes, we can do that. So if I say name, and if I want to fetch one character, how will I do that? So let's say if I have a YouTube here, and YouTube has 7 letters or 7 characters. When you break it down, it will create an array, or you can say collection of characters. The numbering starts with 0, because normally in computers, numbering always starts with 0. So here, if you want to fetch it, we have to use a square bracket, and you have to mention 0. So we are specifying, hey, I want to fetch the first letter of name. So in this case, it is Y. How it works? So now I will fetch the last one, which is 6, which is E in this case. Yeah, we got E, that works. Now I will fetch, let's say 8. See, we don't have 9 characters, right? We only have 7 characters. So the first one is 0, the last one is 6. How about 8? The moment you do that, it will give you an error. It says index error, string index out of range. So of course you're going out of your limit, right? So you cannot do that. Okay, can I use negative numbers? Let's try. I will use -1. So I want your guess here, what you think it will do. Come on, think about it. Okay, so let me just enter it and let's see what happens. So when I say enter, you got E. Okay, so the answer is, when you say minus number, it will start from right to left. Okay, so it will start with the ending, so which is E in this case. That means if I say -2, it will give you the second last letter, which is B. That's right. And if I say -7, which will be the first one, right, which is Y. Oh, it works. It goes in reverse order now. Now what if I want to print 2 characters, not 1, 2? So let's say I want to print Y and O. So in this case, I will say name, and I will start with 0. Of course, we want to print 0, the first character and the second character, right? That means we will give 2. Now this 2 doesn't mean number of characters, it means the ending. So I want to start with 0 and 1. So first 2 characters. And you can see we got Y0. The same thing if I do it for 1:4. So come on, guess. So 1 means second character, right? So it will start with O and it will end at 3, because you cannot include 4. So it is exclusive of 4. So it is 1, which is O, U, and T. Oh, it works. We got out. Yeah, so out. It works. Now, what if I specify only 1 and colon? If I don't specify the ending, what happens? In this case, it will start with 1 and it will go till the end. Okay, that's how it works. So if you don't specify the ending part, it will go in that way. What if I specify the ending part but not the starting point? Example, if I say, if I keep it blank and after colon, I will say 4. Now in this case, it will start with the first letter and it will end at 3, which is before 4. And that's why you got Y-O-U-T. So this is fun, right? Okay, what else we can do here? What if I specify name and I will give wrong values? I will say 3:10. Of course, we don't have 10 characters, right? Now in this case, it will end at the last one, which is available. So it will not give you any error at this case. You can see we got T-U-B-E, tube. Starts with T and then it's end at E, because we don't have any other characters. So if you want to avoid errors, this is one way. Okay, now can I change the letter? Example, I don't want it to be YouTube. I want it to be MyTube. So I will say name from 0 to 3. I want to change this with my. Can I do that? So I'm changing Y-O-U to my. The moment I say enter, you got an error. It says string object does not support item assignment. So the thing is, once you assign the value, you cannot change it. Not even for one character. If I say 0, I want to change the first character to RawTube, even this will not work. You can see we got the error. So you cannot change the value. That means strings in Python is immutable. You cannot change the value of it. That's awesome, right? But then that doesn't mean you cannot change while printing. Example, if I want to print MyTube, you can do that. So first I will print my, and then I will give a space and then plus. I want to print tube, right? So in that case, I will say 3:6, or maybe the ending part, doesn't matter. So you can see we got MyTube. If you don't want space, you can do that. You can say my, and then without space, you can type it tube. So this works, yeah. So this is how you work with string. You work with variables, right? You can have a number variables, you can have a float variables, and you can have a string variable as well. In fact, with string, we have one more thing. Let's say if you define a string, which is, let's say, my name as a variable, and my name here is Naveen Reddy. And if I want to know the length of my name, we can do that. So we have a len function and we can pass my name. As I mentioned, there are some inbuilt functions available in Python, and one of them is length, len. So you can see we got 11 characters. So yeah, that's it from this video where we have talked about different variables, assignments and stuff. So I hope you are enjoying my session. Let me know in the comment section, and do click the like button if you're enjoying it. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Bye bye.